families who were just kicking us while we were down. They regularly took far more than their share from us. Not only did they eat it themselves, but they would eat their fill and then take a lot home, picking huge amounts every time. They would take it back to give to their relatives. My parents and grandma always used to say, "There are only 4 of us in our family, we can't eat all the fruit on the trees anyway. It's better to do a good deed and give it away. The villagers will remember our kindness. That way, if our family ever faces any difficulties, the villagers will help us out." But we never expected the old saying to be true. A small favor creates gratitude, a large one creates an enemy. After eating our family's fruit for so many years, the moment we were framed and wrongly accused. First ones to kick us while we were down were the very people who had taken advantage of us the most. On the other hand, it was the villagers who rarely came to the Shao family to pick fruit who spoke many good words for us. When those who often stole fruit saw that my parents were adamant and insisted on settling the score with them, most people started siding with the Shao family, accusing Jie Kuixiang's family of being unreasonable. It was clearly them who sprayed the pesticide that harmed people, yet they tried to frame my family for it. The villagers, seeing which way the wind was blowing, started turning their accusations toward Jie Kuixiang's family. I looked at those familiar faces, so aggressive just moments ago, but now filled with righteousness, and a deep sense of sorrow washed over me. Zhang's son suddenly rushed in front of me. He dropped to his knees with a thud. "King Hua, I'm sorry, it was my mom's greed. The hospital said she just took her last breath, out of respect for the dead. Could you possibly pay a little for the funeral expenses? My family really has no money for the funeral. Your mom was poisoned to death from stealing my family's fruit. The responsibility lies with Jie Kuixiang. If you want to ask for funeral expenses, I should go to her family's house, but they're poor too. King Hua, hasn't your family always been kind-hearted? Please, just help us." I looked at Zhang kneeling on the ground. My heart was heavy with mixed feelings. I remembered how Zhang used to take me out to play when we were kids. Grandma would always sneak him fruit to eat, but now, he was kneeling here for money. Before I even had a chance to speak, Sanlaizi's mother pushed her way through the crowd. "King Hua, I know my family was in the wrong, but she's gone now and deserves a proper burial. Just think of it as a good deed. Please, give us something. We swear we won't tell anyone you paid compensation. We'll just say it was a sympathy gift from your family. This isn't about money. If my family pays today, then tomorrow, someone else will dare to poison another orchard to extort money. I absolutely cannot set this precedent. You talk so righteously, aren't you just unwilling to part with your money? Your family's business is so big. Do you really care about this small amount?" Just then, my grandmother, who had been silent the whole time, walked forward unsteadily. From inside her coat, she took out a small bundle wrapped in a handkerchief and slowly unfolded it. Inside was a wad of wrinkled bills. "Zhang, this 500 yuan is the money I saved up from selling eggs. Take it and buy your mother a proper burial shroud. This isn't compensation money, it's just a heartfelt gesture from an old woman. Grandma, 500 isn't enough. Yeah, the woman is already dead. The Qinghua family is well off. They can afford to give a little more. It would be a good deed. My family's kindness is not something you can use to guilt-trip us. If I pay a single penny today, then tomorrow people will start stealing on purpose just to demand money. I will absolutely not set that precedent. If anyone dares to cause trouble here again, we're calling the police. We'll report them for blackmail and extortion. And another thing, over all these years, any of you who have stolen fruit from our orchard had better pay us back within the next 2 days. Otherwise, don't blame me for what happens next." Seeing that I wouldn't budge, Zhang's family and Sanlaizi's family grew nervous. After all, when it came to stealing fruit from the Shao family, their 2 families had stolen the most over the years. If we were to really settle the score, my family should be the one demanding compensation from them. Besides, Jie Kuixiang is already in custody, and I have evidence of her spraying the pesticide. Even if this goes to court, they have no evidence to demand compensation from us. It's like I said, nobody forced them at knife point to come and steal our loquats. Because the evidence was solid, Jie Kuixiang was found guilty of poisoning resulting in a death, and was sentenced to life in prison. I heard that after the verdict came out, Jie Kuixiang's husband went to the prison with a divorce agreement, demanding a divorce. The verdict is in, life in prison. You're going to rot in here for the rest of your life. You're never getting out. I'm a grown man. I can't be expected to live like a widower for the rest of my life, can I? Just sign this, and let's get it over with. Don't stop me from finding someone else to take care of me. I've spent most of my life with you, and in the end, you want a divorce? How can I ever show my face again? No way, I won't agree to a divorce. It's useless even if you refuse." After saying that, Jie Kuixiang's husband turned and walked away. Before long, he brought an old widow home. Not only did Auntie Zhang, who'd accidentally ingested too much pesticide, pass away, but even Sanzi's wife couldn't hold on for the verdict. She died of respiratory failure due to complications. She died in her hospital bed. After this happened, my grandma wiped her tears and told my father to get the axe. Chop down those trouble-making loquat trees by the gate. Just as my father was going to get it, I stopped him. "Dad, you can't." The villagers, who were watching the drama unfold, couldn't help but laugh out loud at the scene. Old man Sun Lu from the west end of the village, chewing on a steamed bun, said sarcastically, Well, King Hua, can't bear to part with these precious trees, huh? I guess that makes sense. After all, they were your grandpa's pride and joy. More valuable than human life, eh? Uncle Sun Lu, last year, a dozen fish in your pond died. You insisted they were poisoned by pesticide that blew over from our yard and forced my family to pay you 500 yuan. But what happened later? It was your own son, wasn't it? He was just playing around and poured battery acid from his electric scooter into the pond. Isn't that right? So when are you going to pay back that 500 yuan? Why you? What are you talking about? That's nonsense. You know perfectly well if it's nonsense or not. And I'm making myself clear right now. These trees are on our property, and we're not cutting down a single one. If anyone dares to make an issue of these trees again, we'll settle all our scores, old and new. This is outrageous. People have died, and they still won't cut down the trees. They're deliberately preventing the dead from resting in peace. They're just trying to bring more bad luck on all of us. Everyone, look at this. This is what the Shao family is really like. Her wailing stirred some of the more superstitious villagers, who began to murmur in agreement. Then, old man Zhao Wu piped up again. King Hua, it's fine if you don't cut down the trees. But in that case, you have to pay. Hire a master to come to the village and chant scriptures for 3 days. Let his righteous energy drive away this evil influence. Otherwise, with the shadows of these trees hanging over the village, none of us will have any peace of mind. Our trees are growing on our land. How is that any of your business? You want to hold a chanting ceremony? Fine. Whoever feels uneasy can pay for it themselves. Our family won't contribute a single penny. Child, why are you so stubborn? Can't you just back down a little? We're all neighbors here. Just give in a little. Auntie Lee, do you remember when your grandson fell into the ditch? It was my dad who jumped in and pulled him out. What did you say back then? You said our family were good people, that you would be grateful for the rest of your life. And what about now? Just because I refuse to cut down trees that have done nothing wrong, refuse to pay money we don't owe, I've suddenly become a hard-hearted villain? Auntie Lee opened her mouth to speak, but then lowered her head and disappeared into the crowd. My father looked at my defiant posture, then at the greedy faces outside our yard. The last of his hesitation vanished. He walked over to my side, and said to everyone in a heavy voice, the trees, we're not cutting them down, and we're not paying. If anyone finds our house to be an eyesore, feel free to sue. From this day on, if anyone dares to step into my yard without permission or steal even a single leaf, I'm calling the police to report a thief. Her words were so final, they stunned the villagers. They were used to the Shao family's gentle and yielding nature, and this was the first time they'd seen such a firm stance. Sun Lao Lu muttered, just you wait, and pulled away a few others who still wanted to cause trouble. They sullenly dispersed. Grandma looked at the empty courtyard gate, and tears started streaming down her face again. From now on, how are we supposed to live? Grandma, it's the people who are at fault, not the loquat trees. Besides, these few loquat trees, Grandpa planted them especially for you when he was alive. Now that Grandpa's gone, these loquat trees are the last thing you have to remember him by. How could you, for the sake of a few thieves, cut down the memory Grandpa left for you? Grandma hugged me and cried her heart out. Although the loquat trees were saved, the atmosphere in the village became increasingly oppressive. Some people felt our family was too harsh, too heartless. They started to secretly exclude us. Then, our vegetable patch was trampled during the night. The clothes we hung out to dry were often splattered with mud. One evening, I came back from town and found that someone had written on our courtyard wall in red paint, "Cold-hearted family will get what's coming to them," in big characters. I silently fetched some water and scrubbed it off, bit by bit. That night, I didn't sleep well. In a daze, I heard a faint snap from the backyard. It sounded like a branch breaking. He sat up with a start, and gently shook my father awake. The two of us grabbed a flashlight, and tiptoed to the backyard. There, under the moonlight, a dark figure was leaning over the wall from a tree, breaking off a branch full of fruit. My dad shouted, and suddenly shone the flashlight on him. The figure was startled and hastily tried to jump off the wall. He missed his footing and fell into the Shao family's vegetable patch in the backyard. Zhao Lao Wu had a hard fall. Grimacing in pain, he tried to get up and run, but my dad pinned him down. "Zhao Lao Wu, you climb over our wall in the middle of the night to steal our loquats." I wasn't stealing, I was just taking a look. Taking a look? Does taking a look require a basket? I shone the flashlight at the base of the wall. Sure enough, an old bamboo basket was lying there. I walked over and saw that the basket was already filled with a pile of loquats and a handful of scallions. Seeing that the evidence was undeniable, Zhao Lao Wu couldn't talk his way out of it. So he decided to play dumb. "Zhao Lao Wu, a few worthless loquats and rotten scallions. How much are they even worth? Do you really have to make such a big deal? We're all neighbors here. Make a big deal? Last time, you trampled our vegetable patch. You threw mud, and you wrote on our wall. This time, you climb our wall to steal. What's next? Are you trying to set a fire?" After I spoke, I took out my phone and directly called the town's police station. Zhao Lao Wu panicked then. He never imagined I'd actually dare to call the police. Don't call the police. King Hua, I was wrong. I'll give you back the loquats, and the scallions too. I'll pay you. I'm begging you, don't call the police. If I get locked up, who's going to take care of my old mother at home? Zhao Lao Wu played the victim card while kneeling on the ground, begging for mercy. The neighbors were startled, and a few lights flickered on. People were peeking out, but I remained unmoved. I clearly stated the situation and address over the phone, then hung up and said to my father, "Dad, keep an eye on him. Wait for the police to get here." "Shao King Hua, you ruthless brat, no wonder everyone in the village curses you. You deserve to be struck by lightning. All the fruit your family grows will rot sooner or later." I immediately had my father find a rope and tie him up. The police arrived quickly. Although the value of what Zhao Lao Wu stole wasn't high, it was considered illegal trespassing at night, which is a rather serious offense. In the end, Zhao Lao Wu was detained for 5 days. and fined to compensate my family for our losses. This incident was like a bomb that went off again in our small village. Some people thought my family did the right thing, but many more, especially those who already resented our family or had taken advantage of us before, thought I was too cruel. The rumors became even more vicious. What hurt the most was when one day I saw Granny Zhang, who had always been on good terms with my grandma, spot Grandma from a distance at the village entrance and deliberately turn around to walk away. Grandma stood frozen, watching her old friend's retreating figure. She watched for a long time before silently turning to go home. She sat on the doorstep, gazing at that loquat tree, and finally said the words she had been suppressing for so long. If I'd known it would come to this, it would have been better to just give him some money and be done with it. Grandma, we did nothing wrong. If we compromise today, they'll be even more outrageous tomorrow. A few days later, the village chief came to our door to mediate, advising my family to prioritize harmony, and even hinted that we should pay a little something to quell the public anger. My father slammed his fist on the table in rage. We're the victims. Why on earth should we be the ones paying money? That may be true, but everyone in the village is saying your family is hard-hearted and unforgiving. How are you going to live in this village from now on? Village chief, if we're going to be ostracized for insisting on doing the right thing, then maybe this village isn't worth staying in at all. As my words hung in the air, a dead silence fell over the yard. Village chief opened his mouth, but all that came out was a heavy sigh. With his hands behind his back, he turned and left our little yard. I turned to comfort my grandma, who was crying silently. Grandma, Dad, Mom, let's pack our things. The old house in town is old, but we can fix it up and live there. We'll harvest what crops we can from the fields, and what we can't, we'll just leave it. Good, we're finally leaving this miserable place. As long as our family is healthy and together, we can make a living anywhere. For the next few days, my family kept the courtyard gate tightly shut. We began to quietly pack our belongings. At first, some people scoffed, thinking my family was just making empty threats. However, when they saw my family packing up our few pieces of furniture, and even contacting a truck from town, the villagers finally realized that this family, always seen as honest and easy to bully, was actually serious this time. Some people admired my family's backbone, while others called me arrogant for disregarding our village ties. But regardless, from that day on, no one dared to bully my family again. A few years later, because of an accident, Jay Kuixiong ended up in prison. Later on, I also met someone willing to plant a loquat tree for me. When she heard about the incident where our loquat tree poisoned 3 people, my fiancé immediately had the courtyard walls of our villa raised to 3 meters. That settled it. Forget about stealing fruit, you couldn't even see the tops of our trees. I'd like to see who dares to get any ideas now. This time,